Hello everyone, I will introduce the series group node of image generation. There are 5 types: Common SD15, SDXL, SD3, and Flux. It can be used for text-to-image and image-to-image, including functions such as ControlNet, repainting, and noise injection. Enabling the corresponding switch in the common version will adapt to SD15, SDXL, SD3, and Flux models. It is the most convenient group node. The SD15 version uses the ELA text encoder. SDXL, SD3, and Flux versions support the corresponding clip G or T5XXL encoders for more accurate text understanding. The advanced version group nodes contain advanced controls such as repainting using checkpoints, masking, and color grading. I have a video introducing the repainting group node. I put the link in the description. Take a look if you are interested. Now you see the group node with the input slots. Currently, group nodes cannot convert widgets and input slots to each other like ordinary nodes. Even if they are converted in the interface, they will be invalid at runtime. So I created the group nodes with input slots. In this way, the group nodes allow calls in custom processes. I will talk about this when I introduce Krita's painting workflow. There are also advanced versions of the group node with input slots. This workflow is a functional demonstration of all the image generation group nodes, including text-to-image, image-to-image, and simple repainting for Common, SD15, SDXL, SD3, and Flux models. Let's first look at the parameters, including resolution settings, clip layer settings, seamless texture settings, model switches, sampling settings, and noise injection settings. For images were generated in the same batch, different noises were injected into each picture, and similar but varied results could be obtained. There are also switches for image-to-image and repainting. Additionally, a ControlNet stack node is used in this example. This node supports up to 6 ControlNets, but only one is enabled now. The one that loaded is the SDXL depth ControlNet LoRa. First, a depth map is generated based on the input image, scaled to the generated resolution, and then connected to the ControlNet stack. Next, enable the image-to-image switch and lower denoise to turn the dog into a cat. Enable the image-to-image and repaint switches at the same time, connect the mask input slot and lower denoise. Only the mask area is repainted, and other places remain unchanged. Here is the expanded state of the group node. The process is very complicated, and there are parameters everywhere. It is much more convenient with the group node. The above 3 groups are LoRa, Advanced Model Control, and General ControlNet Control, which are used with the image generation group node. Enable the corresponding node as needed. There are also demonstrations of the group node specifically for SD15, SDXL, SD3, and Flux models. The next workflow you see is the Image Generation Advanced Group Nodes demonstration. Group nodes for generic model SD15, SDXL, SD3, and Flux. Each group node includes a demonstration of text-to-image, image-to-image, latent repainting, ControlNet repainting, and checkpoint repainting. Let's focus on 3 types of repainting. Enable latent repainting and latent filling. The first way of repainting supports denoise control. Masks have dilation and blur controls. There is also a ControlNet repainting. Note that there is an extra process here. The repainting image and mask should be pre-processed for SD15 and SDXL models. The ControlNet here uses repaint in Zinser's SDXL union. Remember to enable black pixel for Zinser. You can also use denoise to control the results if you enable both latent repainting and latent filling when using ControlNet repainting. Denoise must be set to 1 if latent repainting is turned off. Finally, let's look at the checkpoint repainting. Here we use a checkpoint specifically for repainting, such as this one for SDXL. Here I expanded the image up, down, left, and right. Enable checkpoint repainting and image filling to give directions for repainting. I use the original image for filling and the denoise parameter to control the result. The demonstrations of image generation using other models will not be described in detail. There is only one thing to note: the results of repainting using latent are quite good for the SD3 and Flux models. In comparison, the results of repainting using Alimama ControlNet are less than ideal, especially when expanding the image. The results of the InPaint are okay, although there are some artifacts occasionally. In addition, although there are no repainting checkpoints for SD3 and Flux, the result of repainting using the basic model is acceptable. The key is to enable image fill to give a directional reference. The result would be better if you could remove the extra handles. This group node contains an extremely complex process, covering almost all image generation functions.
Whispers in the night, stars that lose their light, silent winds they blow, nowhere left to go, drifting further out, filled with waves of doubt, echoes of your name. Everything feels the same, lost in the clouds, no way to come down. In the sea of dreams, nothing's what it seems. Floating in the mist, days that don't exist. Shadows fade away, colors turn to gray. Where do I belong in this endless song? Melodies so sweet, sweeping off my feet. Lost in the clouds, no way to come down. In the sea of dreams, nothing's what it seems. Floating in the mist, days that don't exist. Shadows fade away, colors turn to gray. Whispers in the night, stars that lose their light, silent winds they blow, nowhere left to go, drifting further out, filled with waves of doubt, echoes of your name.
Next, I will introduce the precautions for creating group nodes. First, identify and distinguish the nodes that need to apply parameters by color and name. The color is for easy observation in the expanded state, and the name is for easy identification when editing the group node. Select all nodes, right-click, and select Convert to Group Node. Give the group node a name. Group is misspelled, but that's okay. The group node input slots, widgets, and output slots are messy and need to be organized. Right-click, select Manage Group Node and find the group node you created. Each node has 3 parameter columns: input, widget, and output. We need to control their visibility and name them. I am used to putting input and output nodes at the front of the node list for easier management. You can adjust the order by selecting the node and dragging it. I adjusted the order of the positive L node. Hide parameters that do not need to be displayed. Hidden parameters will maintain their default values. Rename the parameter. Some nodes have multiple outputs. Remember to hide them if you don't need them. I am used to putting nodes that do not need to display parameters at the end of the node list. After finishing the arrangement, I put all the input, output, and widget parameters in order. I put everything I didn't need at the back of the list. Click Save and Close and recreate the group node. Currently, there is no way to set default values for group nodes, so some custom parameter values should be set after the node has been created. If you create a group node with input slots, you must convert the widgets into input slots before converting nodes into a group node. The process of creating and organizing group nodes is the same. After finishing, it will be the same as this group node. Currently, grouping nodes is still quite cumbersome. To modify them, you must switch to Nodes mode. After the modification, you still need to repeat the recreation and organization process, which is extremely painful. It is still far from being a useful group node editor. However, I believe its functions will be improved with references to node editors in UE, Unity, Blender, etc. The group node will be stored with the workflow, but it can only be used in the current workflow in previous ComfyUI versions. Another way is to save it as a component. Type in the category, author, prefix, group node name, component package name, and version number. After clicking Save, the component package you just created will appear in the component directory of the ComfyUI Manager custom node. You can also see it in the Create Node interface. This method allows the group node to be called from any workflow. In the latest ComfyUI, this step is not required and group nodes can be copied between different workflows. Let's delete the component package and see. I restarted ComfyUI. When you open a workflow that contains a group node, the group node is automatically listed in the node catalog. Open another workflow and the group node will still exist. Can be created or copied and pasted. Please note that this group node is not saved on the hard drive and will be gone if you refresh ComfyUI. When you open a workflow containing a group node for the first time, the group node will be saved in memory. Sometimes when opening a workflow, a message says that some custom nodes are missing from the group node. You can install the missing custom node or click Remove from Workflow to delete the group node from the current workflow. In addition, you can delete unnecessary group nodes through Group Node Management to reduce resource consumption. Now I will introduce a new ControlNet Apply node. Let's first take a look at official ControlNet Apply nodes. These two nodes are actually the same. This one has been deactivated. The third one is an old version. The ControlNet Apply nodes we commonly use are this General Usage node and the Alimama InPaint node. I combined the two to create this new node. The image, mask, V, and ControlNet slots in this node are all optional, which means that this node will automatically determine the node function based on the content of the input slot. In addition, there is a node switch for process control. We can connect Alimama's InPaint ControlNet to this node. This one on the side is the ControlNet Stack node, which allows up to 6 ControlNets to be enabled simultaneously. This node supports the ControlNet Union format and is available in Zinser and Instant X versions. I selected Depth and Canny ControlNet and connected them to the Apply node. This is a ControlNet Apply node dedicated to the ControlNet stack. This node can identify each ControlNet type through the V and mask input content, including Alimama InPaint ControlNet. I created this workflow to compare the results of the ControlNet Apply nodes. Here you can control the type of ControlNet used. The results of the new Apply node are the same as those of the default node. The results are the same using the ControlNet Stack Apply node. For SD3 and Flux, replacing the two default nodes with this new Apply node will give the same result. Krita AI Diffusion, the plugin that connects Krita and ComfyUI, recently got an update to support custom workflows in ComfyUI. I've put a link to Krita AI Diffusion and the corresponding ComfyUI custom node in the description, so be sure to check it out. What you see now is the workflow of the Img Gen Group Node with input slots and the Krita AI tool nodes. To use this workflow, you must install the linked plugins and the ComfyUI Jake upgrade custom node I created. Note that Krita AI Diffusion is for Krita. Additionally, I recommend creating a separate portable version of ComfyUI to work with Krita. After enabling AI Diffusion in Krita, select Graph Mode and the ID of the current workflow to sync. The parameter settings in Krita's interface are easy to understand. Currently, the workflow is based on the image resolution of the canvas, but I plan to make an update to support selections.
Whispers in the night, stars that lose their light, silent winds they blow, nowhere left to go, drifting further out, filled with waves of doubt, echoes of your name. Everything feels the same, lost in the clouds, no way to come down. In the sea of dreams, nothing's what it seems, floating in the mist, days that don't exist. Shadows fade away, colors turn to gray. Where do I belong in this endless song? sweeping off my feet. Lost in the clouds, no way to come down. In the sea of dreams, nothing's what it seems. Floating in the mist, days that don't exist. Shadows fade away, colors turn to gray.
You can also save the currently synchronized workflow for later local use. With local workflow, you can close ComfyUI's workflow and interface, but keep ComfyUI running in the background. With this update, I've provided the workflows for the dev and the synced version of Krita. Just copy the dev version of the workflow into Krita AI Diffusion's working directory. An error message might appear when opening a synchronized version of the Krita workflow. Ignore and close it.
Whispers in the night, stars that lose their light, silent winds they blow, nowhere left to go, drifting further out, filled with waves of doubt, echoes of your name, everything feels the same. Lost in the clouds, no way to come down. In the sea of dreams, nothing's what it seems. Floating in the mist, days that don't exist. Shadows fade away, colors turn to gray, drifting further out, filled with waves of doubt, echoes of your name, everything feels the same. Lost in the clouds, no way to come down. In the sea of dreams, nothing's what it seems. Floating in the mist, days that don't exist. Shadows fade away, colors turn to gray. Where do I belong in this endless song? Melody so sweet, sweeping off my feet. Lost in the clouds, no way to come down. In the sea of dreams, nothing's what it seems. drifting further out, filled with waves of doubt, echoes of your name. Everything feels the same, lost in the clouds, no way to come down. In this sea of dreams, nothing's what it seems. Floating in